Hello there! Welcome back to another Star Wars What If reaction. Today we're reacting to What If the Jedi Council Survived, created by Fantasy Folklore. Be sure to check him out, the link's in the description, and I cannot wait to see what he's come up with for this Star Wars What If. Let's jump right in.
In Revenge of the Sith, the Jedi Order is decimated when Order 66 is given to the clone army. All across the galaxy, Jedi alike perish, and the Empire rose. But
Very
what
sad.
if the Jedi Council survived
Alright,
Order 66?
let's get into it.
How would that change the
Sounds
timeline?
so interesting, bro.
Let's start today's story in Palpatine's office on Coruscant.
Okay.
Windu has just defeated the deceitful Chancellor, knocking him to the floor and preparing to strike him down. But as the Chosen One marches in and commands his safety, Windu's anger reaches its peak. We all know what happens. Anakin chops Windu's arm off and he is hit with lightning as he plummets to his death on the Coruscant streets. However, in today's story, we are going to say that as he fell through hundreds of levels of Coruscant buildings...
See, this is like one of those fan fictions that like people love.
He was able
the fact that Mace Windu survives that fall, which I wouldn't say is something very, very unrealistic, you know?
to catch onto a speeder driving past and stop his fall.
Okay.
The Jedi Master survived. He would immediately contact Yoda and the rest of the Council, informing them of what has just transpired.
Like, the fact that he's alive brings more hope, and also I love Mace Windu. He's like actually one of my favorite characters, so this is very cool.
Palpatine is the Sith Lord, and Anakin has turned to the dark side and almost killed him. Obi-Wan couldn't believe it and exclaimed that Windu must be wrong, but
Though, saying to the council, Anakin almost killed me, and it's Windu saying that, it must, like, be super just wow, because, you know, Windu, it's Windu. He's one of the most powerful Jedi, one of the most skilled fighters, and he's saying Anakin almost killed him. Obviously, it wasn't a fight, but, you know, he just said he almost killed him, so people, they must think that Anakin went, like, insane.
deep down, he knew he wasn't. By the time Anakin went to the temple and Order 66 was executed, the Council had evaded their clone troopers and were safe, all from Windu's warning. Windu would smuggle himself off-world at arguably the last possible moment before Palpatine announced to the galaxy that the Jedi were traitors, and Windu would have been stopped if he attempted to leave. The Council agreed to meet at an abandoned Jedi outpost on Ilum, the planet of Kybers, while they understand the severity of the situation and what to do next. As for Anakin and Palpatine, they would destroy the Jedi Order with little resistance. With no Jedi Council
I mean, they think Windu's dead and they have no idea about the others, so they think they're safe.
members on Coruscant, Anakin would pillage everyone, slaughtering the younglings, Padawans, and knights alike. It was a massacre, and one that would shape the future of the galaxy in the coming years. A lot would change in Anakin's subsequent story. Without Obi-Wan returning to Coruscant, Padme would survive. This is because she never learns of him turning to the dark
What about the children, though? Shit.
side, and thus has no motivation to go to Mustafar. She would simply stay in her apartment on Coruscant. Additionally, Obi-Wan wouldn't travel to Mustafar, and the duel between him and Anakin wouldn't take place. Because of this, Anakin doesn't burn or lose his limbs and has no reason to enter the Vader
Shit, this is already a very unique what if, because, like, the fact that this doesn't happen is just wow.
He remains as Nightfall Anakin, the most powerful man in the galaxy. That means that Anakin goes to Mustafar, kills the Separatist leaders, shuts down the droid productions, and then returns to Coruscant as originally intended. Padme would give birth to Luke and Leia a few days, and she would survive. This only bolstered Anakin's trust and belief in his master, and he had tested her survival to his new master's abilities, not believing the notion that she was always going to be fine. Anakin would become the apprentice that Palpatine desired him to be. He was strong, ferocious, and had the Force potential to become the most powerful Sith Lord in history. The Emperor knew he had to awaken his potential inside his apprentice, and they would immediately begin training. Anakin learned all there was about the dark side, and his powers would know zero limits.
This is bad.
He learned Force Lightning, Force Choke, every Sith ability you can think of. At the beginning of the Empire's reign, everyone loved Anakin. He was the hero with no fear. Palpatine had crafted this persona meticulously during his time in office, so that when the Jedi fell, Anakin would still be beloved when he stood by him. Vader had ascended. Hey guys, make sure to check out our saber shop, Fantasy
Oh.
Sabers, for the best NeoPixel sabers.
Yo, I just want to say, if you guys want to buy lightsabers, this is the guy, bro.
Other insane Padawan sabers for sale.
I'm definitely like one day, I gotta buy Dooku's saber, bro.
Description below and grab your own one today. After their narrow escape, the surviving Jedi Council members, Mace Windu, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Ayla Secura, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti,
I mean, Ayla isn't really a council member. I guess she was promoted now.
and others regroup on Ilum. The Jedi Council sat together.
Yeah, wait, why is Ayla here if it's just council members? She's not a council. Why? I don't know, man.
All dark room. The room was cold and the walls were rough with ice. They were all tired and worried. The Jedi Temple was gone. The clones had attacked them, and now the Empire ruled the galaxy. They knew they were in great danger, but they were alive. They had escaped, and now they needed to think about what to do next. Mace Windu sat in the middle. His face was hard and he looked serious. He had lost his hand, and his body was covered with scars, but he remained strong. He knew that they could not fight the Empire the way they used to. They needed a new plan. He thought about how they could fight back without being caught. Yoda was old and wise. He knew that the Jedi had to change. They could not fight in the open like before. The dark side was strong, and the Empire had many soldiers. The Jedi had to be careful now. They needed to find new ways to survive and fight. Obi-Wan thought about Anakin. He had become Darth Vader, a servant of the dark side. Kenobi knew that he had to try and remain focused, but his mind consistently drifted to his fallen friend. He missed him, despite all the damage and carnage.
What's really bad is that now Palpatine has Anakin's children with him, which is like really bad.
They needed to find out what Anakin was doing, where he was, and what Palpatine was planning next. Plo Koon thought about the Outer Rim, the far parts of the galaxy. He knew people there who did not like the Empire. Maybe they could find smugglers, traders, the other people who would help them if they were careful.
Makes sense.
The council pondered, knowing that the next moves would have to be crucial. If they talked to the wrong people, the Empire might find them. Any mistake could lead the Empire straight to them. Windu agreed. They had to be smart. They could not just attack the Empire directly. They had to find ways to weaken them from within. Kenobi suggested that they should start by finding out more about what the Empire was doing.
Okay.
They could send small groups to spy.
This is also, because these are basically also one of the smartest people in the galaxy, these council members. They're very, very smart, so they're gonna figure out some stuff quickly.
And gather information. They could find weak spots in the Empire and attack them when they least expected it. Across the galaxy, Padme learned of what Anakin had become. She was absolutely horrified, but there was little she could do. Padme stayed in the Imperial Senate, pretending to support the Empire. She acted like she agreed with the Emperor and his new rules, but inside...
I feel like Palpatine is gonna see something is fishy here because of the fact that she agrees with him and stuff.
She felt angry and sad. She needed to protect her family, especially her children, so she kept up the act. But secretly, Padme was working against the Empire. She listened carefully at meetings, watching for any clues about the Emperor's plans, where his troops would go, or what the Sith were doing. When she learned something important, she quietly passed the information to Bail Organa and Mon Mothma, who were also against the Empire. She did this without anyone knowing, using secret codes and hidden messages. Together, Padme, Bail, and Mon Mothma would create the rebellion and send money to small groups fighting the Empire, helping them buy supplies and weapons. She used her position and her wealth to move resources without being caught, always careful to not draw attention to herself. It was dangerous work, and she knew that if she was discovered, she could be arrested or even worse.
You'd probably be executed, to be honest.
Watched as Anakin, now called Darth Vader, became more and more consumed by the dark side. Each day, he seemed to drift further away from the man he once was. Anakin had become cold and harsh, spending most of his time carrying out the Emperor's orders.
That's what the dark side does.
Ruthless, hunting down the remaining Jedi and crushing anyone who dared to resist the Empire. Padme felt a deep sadness in her heart as she watched him change. She had once believed in their love, that they could build a life together.
Not anymore.
Now their home felt like a place full of shadows and secrets. Anakin had grown suspicious of her, often questioning her actions and watching her closely. Padme felt his mistrust growing, and she knew that he could sense her doubts and fears. But she did not want to leave him. She still loved him, and even though he had become someone she hardly recognized, Padme decided to stay by his side, hoping she could protect their children, Luke and Leia, from the darkness that was taking over their father.
I don't know, man.
She feared for them every day, and knew that they were in great danger if Anakin fell completely into the grip of the Emperor. Padme tried to be strong, even though her heart felt heavy. Sometimes she could see a flicker of the old Anakin in his eyes, but it would quickly fade, replaced by the cold look of Darth Vader. Padme knew deep down that there was still good in him, but it was buried under layers of anger, pain, and darkness. The Jedi Council knew they had to stay hidden to survive, so they moved carefully,
guerrilla fighting,
always staying in the shadows. They spread out across the galaxy, each member taking on a different role to weaken the Empire without ever revealing themselves. They used their knowledge of the Force to stay one step ahead, guiding the rebel leaders like Bail Organa and Mon Mothma, giving them advice on how to fight back. The Jedi sent secret messages, made secret plans, and shared important information that helped the rebels grow stronger. They found Imperial plans, troop movements, and weaknesses, passing them on to the rebels so they could strike at the right time and place. The Jedi also had help from secret alliances from people inside the Empire who were not happy with what was happening, like former clone troopers and officers who did not believe in the Empire's ways. These allies gave them information and helped them.
They gotta like meet up with the clones, Rex and all that. Oh, the Bad Batch,
with supplies, ships, and safe places to hide. The Council taught the rebels new ways to fight, using tricks and traps instead of direct attacks. By working in secret, the Jedi made the rebels smarter and more powerful, helping them to stand up to the Empire without ever really showing their hand. As the Empire becomes more powerful, Padme knows she must act quickly and carefully. She decides to take bigger risks to help those fighting back. She arranges secret meetings with Bail Organa, Mothma, and a few other Jedi Council members in a quiet, hidden spot on Naboo, away from prying eyes. At this meeting, they come up with plans to weaken the Empire from inside. They talk about sneaking into Imperial supply routes and causing trouble, disrupting communication lines and attacking places that are important to the Empire's control. Padme also tries to make friends with star systems that haven't chosen a side. She persuades their leaders to help the rebellion in small ways, like sending supplies or information without openly fighting the Empire. Padme becomes a secret messenger for the rebellion, using coded language and hidden signals to warn rebellion groups about upcoming Imperial raids. Her messages help new rebels escape danger before it arrives, saving many lives and keeping the resistance strong. She carefully watches for any signs of new Imperial projects and sneaks out valuable information whenever she can. Essentially, Padme acted exactly how you would expect her to. She wanted to help people, and try her best to navigate the impacts of the Empire on the people of need. She was in a position of power and influence, and had the ability to manipulate things from behind the scenes, while still acting intelligently in the Imperial Senate. Her and the Jedi Council began working very closely together. The Council had been very successful of late, pushing into Imperial areas such as Ryloth and Dantooine and recapturing control. Padme even discovers hints about the Empire building a new secret weapon, something called the Death Star. She quietly passes this information to Bail Organa, who shares it with the Jedi and other leaders of the rebellion. Padme's work becomes more dangerous, but she knows it's necessary. She makes sure the rebels are always one step ahead of the Empire's plans. She uses her position in the Senate to gather information and resources, pretending to be loyal to the Empire while secretly helping its enemies. Anakin becomes more suspicious of Padme as his paranoia grows, fueled by Palpatine's constant manipulation and whispers that she might be hiding something. Anakin starts to believe that she is betraying him, and he becomes obsessed with finding out the truth. He orders Imperial spies to watch her every move.
That's messed up.
Determined to uncover any secrets she might be keeping.
Bro's her
It
husband.
isn't long before one of these spies intercepts a coded message from Padme to the rebels, revealing her involvement in the Jedi and secretly supporting the rebellion against the Empire.
What?
Anakin is filled with rage when he learns this and rushes to confront her.
Oh,
When he
shit.
faces her, Padme is scared but stands firm. She admits what she has done, saying she cannot just watch as the Empire causes suffering across the galaxy. She tells him that she still loves him, but cannot accept the monster that he is becoming under the Emperor's influence. Anakin feels torn between his love for her and his anger. During their tense confrontation, as Anakin questions
He's gonna choose the Emperor though, because he's too far in the dark side now.
Padme about her secret actions, she reveals that the Jedi Council is still alive and on Ilum,
Should she have revealed that though?
and actively working against the Empire. This news catches him off guard and added another layer of shock to the betrayal he feels. Anakin's anger flares as he realizes that not only has Padme been aiding the rebels, but she also knows that the Jedi he believed were defeated are still out there, plotting against him. He thought of his old allies, now enemies. Filled with rage and confusion, makes him feel surrounded by traitors. For a moment, his hand hovers over his lightsaber, considering a terrible choice, but his love for her
No.
holds him back, and he cannot bring himself to harm her.
Okay.
Instead, he decides to imprison her in their home on Coruscant,
Bro.
surrounding her with guards and keeping her under constant watch.
That's fucking
Padme
messed
is
up.
now trapped, unable to continue helping the rebels or reach out to anyone. She is isolated, a prisoner in her own home, cut off from the galaxy and the cause she believes in. Anakin is left in turmoil, his mind spinning between the darkness that pulls him deeper into the Emperor's control and the love that he cannot fully let go, even as it threatens to tear his soul apart. Anakin warns Padme that any further defiance will bring consequences not just for her, but for their children, Luke and Leia.
Okay.
Padme, trapped in their home on Coruscant, feels a deep sense of despair, unable to find a way to reach anyone beyond the walls that confined her. Anakin strides into Palpatine's dark, grand chamber with a serious look. He tells Palpatine that the Jedi Council is still alive and hiding on Ilum,
Palpatine, he must be shitting his pants.
and that Padme was secretly helping them. Palpatine's face becomes tense and worried as he
Yeah.
hears this. He starts pacing, clearly upset and anxious. He hadn't expected the Jedi to survive, and the thought of them regrouping on Ilum is a terrible thought. He knows that Yoda and Mace Windu
Why the fuck would Padme say they're in Ilum though? That's fucking stupid of her.
are among the Jedi still alive, and he fears their power and leadership. He decides that they must act fast and plans an invasion to crush the Jedi once and for all. He orders a large force to surround Ilum, making sure the Jedi can't escape or fight
They're
back.
cooked.
Palpatine explains how important it is to defeat the Jedi quickly, so they don't get a chance to cause more trouble. Anakin listens carefully, seeing how much the news has upset Palpatine. As Anakin leaves to prepare for the attack, Palpatine remains in his dark chamber, clearly troubled and worried about the difficult battle ahead. He would feel some trepidation. He believed they were all dead, but it made sense. Rebel insurgency has become more frequent and effective as of late, and it would be all because of the Council.
Yep.
But they didn't have nearly as much firepower as the Empire did, and one swift invasion would surely wipe them out.
Yeah,
They
no.
set off immediately. When they arrived, the Jedi and rebels were completely caught off guard and had to scramble into a position of war. At the help
It's the Jedi Council though, like a bunch of just the most powerful Jedi. So like they're gonna do good.
were a dozen Jedi Masters, each extremely powerful in their own right to lead the defense.
Yep.
The battle for Ilum was the biggest and most intense fight the galaxy had ever seen. The Empire's invasion came with a massive fleet of Star Destroyers and hundreds of smaller ships. As these massive ships hovered above the snowy surface of Ilum, they blocked out the sun and cast long, dark shadows over the planet. From the Star Destroyers, countless TIE fighters and dropships poured like a swarm of angry bees. They filled the sky with a constant buzz as they descended towards the surface. When they landed, they unleashed a storm of blaster fire, snow and ice exploded into the air with every blast.
Ah,
The
shite.
ground shook under heavy steps of AT-AT walkers, their huge legs crushing the snow and firing their powerful cannons. The sky was filled with explosions, and the noise of lasers and heavy weaponry was
Okay, what do
deafening.
the rebels have?
The Jedi on Ilum were ready to fight the fight. Mace Windu, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and the others gathered the remaining forces from their hidden base. They prepared for the incoming storm with determination.
Okay.
Lightsabers were ignited, and the hum of blades filled the air. Mace Windu, with his purple lightsaber, led the defense with skill and strength. His blade moved like a blur, blocking blaster bolts and cutting down stormtroopers. Yoda, small but incredibly powerful, jumped and spun through the battle, his green lightsaber flashing as he took down enemies with ease. Obi-Wan, with his blue lightsaber, fought alongside them,
Master defense.
his calm and precise moves helping the Jedi to hold their ground. The other Jedi Council members fought bravely alongside each other. Plo Koon tried to hold his ground and protect the Jedi, but he was struggling to keep up with the relentless attacks and the crushing numbers of
Come on,
stormtroopers
man.
and Sith. Despite their best efforts, the battle was becoming too much for him to handle. As Vader and Palpatine arrived, the rebels fell
Oh, they're there? Oh, shit.
the back foot. They moved as a duo, slicing down anyone in their path as they were flanked by stormtroopers who have the intent to kill. Palpatine murders Ayla Secura and Kit Fisto as
Oh,
they attempt
fuck.
to defend other rebels. It was a massacre. In the heart of the battlefield, the final confrontation began. Yoda, Windu, and Obi-Wan faced Vader and Palpatine in a dramatic showdown. The area around them was filled with fire and wreckage, creating a chaotic backdrop for the duel. Yoda and Palpatine clashed first. Yoda's small size and quick movements made it hard for him to be hit, but Palpatine's dark powers and lightning attacks made the fight extremely dangerous.
Still,
Yoda leapt
they still think it's at the same level as Revenge of the Sith, where they're literally pretty much equal, but Yoda still, like, he wins. He wins in a lightsaber duel.
and struck with his green lightsaber, making Palpatine counter with blasts of lightning and fierce strikes of his own red saber. Meanwhile, Mace Windu faced Darth Vader. The intensity of their duel was immense,
Oh.
with Windu's purple saber meeting Vader's red blade in a clash of raw power. Windu attacked with all of his strength and skill, but Vader's strength and ferocity pushed him back. Obi-Wan joined Windu, their blue and purple sabers flashing as they fought against Vader.
Oh, shit.
Despite their combined efforts, Vader's power and skill began to wear them down. As they fought, Obi-Wan tried to understand Anakin's actions. He called out to his old friend, speaking to any last spark of light within him. But Windu knew that it was only cold hatred, and he continued to fight. In the end, the Jedi were unable to withstand the power of
No,
Vader
come
and
on.
Palpatine. Windu was struck down by Vader's powerful
Oh,
blow.
fuck.
Obi-Wan was also defeated, his saber falling from his hand as he was overwhelmed by Vader's strength. Yoda fought until the last moment, but even his incredible skill
No!
was not enough to turn the tide. He was forced to retreat, unable to continue the fight. As the battle came to a close, the Empire stood victorious. The once serene and snowy world of Ilum was
Come
now a scene
on,
of
man.
devastation. The Jedi's last stronghold had been defeated, and the Empire's control over the galaxy was solidified. Vader and Palpatine, victorious and powerful, looked over the wreckage of the battlefield. The invasion that had been massive and a decisive victory marked a dark day for the galaxy. After their crushing victory on Ilum, Anakin and Palpatine returned to Palpatine's grand office on Coruscant. Palpatine was in high spirits from the triumph, and he decided to celebrate with a bottle of rare wine. He poured
I know where this is going. Oh, this is gonna be so good. This is peak writing. This is going to be literally. Anakin is gonna kill Palpatine the way Palpatine killed Plagueis. The same way. Them celebrating, Palpatine is gonna get drunk, and Anakin is gonna kill him in his sleep with Force lightning. Holy shit.
drinks generously, toasting to their successes. Anakin played along, acting thrilled and suggesting that they enjoyed their wine more. As Palpatine drank deeply, he became increasingly drunk,
Wow.
laughing and bragging about their power.
How
he
ironic.
stumbled around, barely able to stand, as the effects of the alcohol took hold. Seizing the moment, Anakin quietly prepared himself. When Palpatine was too inebriated to notice, Anakin moved swiftly, with his master in no condition to defend himself. Anakin struck decisively, ending Palpatine's life.
Wow.
It was a cold, calculated move.
How ironic. Same way as Plagueis went out, pretty much.
Just like the death of Darth
Yep,
Plagueis.
yep.
But this time, it was Anakin who had taken control and removed his former master from power. After killing Palpatine, Anakin's rise to power was swift and absolute. With his master gone, he seized control of the galaxy with an iron fist, ruling through fear and darkness. His strength was unmatched, his power nearly limitless, and he used it to crush any resistance.
Fucking hell.
He transformed the Empire into a tool of terror, a regime of nightmares where dissent was met with brutal force. Anakin would raise Luke and Leia in the dark side's shadow, molding them into fearsome enforcers of his will. They grew up in a world ruled by their father's unyielding tyranny, trained to continue his reign of oppression. Meanwhile, Padme, once a symbol of hope and defiance, was eventually released from her confinement. Her heart was shattered as she learned of the deaths of their friends and allies, the heroes who had tried to fight against the darkness. She saw her husband, now a monster, her children as embodiments of evil, and her world in ruins.
Fucking
the life
great.
she once known was gone, replaced by a brutal reality where the dark side had triumphed. She hated her existence, loathed the twisted fate that had befallen her family, and felt a deep despair that she could not escape. The galaxy was engulfed in shadow, and despite her deep pain, there was nothing she could do. The dark side had won, leaving her a broken woman in a world where hope had been extinguished.
Wow.
And so, a tale ended with Anakin's terrifying rule and Padme's tragic defeat. Anakin's
Fucking hell.
power would forever be etched in time. No one would ever overthrow him, and he lived with his unimaginable power for the rest of eternity.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. What an ending. Fantasy Folklore just truly pulled the Uno Reverse card on us and just said, nah, fuck you, this is a dark side ending. Wow, wow, wow. And also, a great little thing there of how Palpatine dies. I mean, it's just ironic, honestly, and great writing. But I'm going to give this what if a 8 out of 10. No, actually, 9 out of 10. This is a great what if with just a lot of good writing. I love it. There's some mistakes in there, but they really don't matter for the what if anyway. Like Kit Fisto surviving, somehow him being in the end of the battle when he, dies before Windu actually jumps out of the window. And also Ayla somehow being part of the council and joining them. But those are small minor mistakes. They don't really matter that much. But yeah, 9 out of 10 for this what if. I love it. It's so great. Like, yeah, love it. So let me know in the comments what you guys would rate this what if out of 10. If you agree with my 9 out of 10 rating, or if you don't, and why. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to go subscribe to Fantasy Folklore for more awesome what if content. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an upload. Remember, a new Star Wars what if reaction drops every single day. Join our Discord, links in the description, and also if you want to support the channel and get exclusive perks, consider joining our Patreon. Huge thanks to all of our amazing Patreons for your support. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video, so leave a comment with feedback or let me know which what if I should react to next. Thanks again for watching. This is the way, and may the force be with you. Until then, I will see you next time.
Hey, you didn't watch it? Well, check out the video on the left side of the screen, which is specifically recommended for you, or check out the playlist on the right of the screen, which contains similar videos to this one, made by me, of course. Hey, remember, subscribe.